Hey guys! Today we have the one and only Lamborghini Huracan 580-2. Is the 610-4 version of the Huracan worth 20K more? And also, why does a Lambo not have Lambo doors? I'll at least try to explain. First, we're going to start off with the front end exterior styling of the Huracan here. And I'm going to start with this right here, which is the Frunk. Yes, I love a Frunk in a supercar. I'm sure it's pretty roomy in there, but I'll show you that in just a bit. Next to that, we have the updated headlight design for the Huracan compared to the Gallardo of the last generation. It just looks way more cool and menacing and like this kind of Y/V design that just looks epic when it's behind you. Under that, we have our gold Lamborghini badge, of course. And moving down to the bumper of this car actually looks a whole bunch like the Gallardo that came before it. It's just a little bit more edgy and cool. And also the bumpers on Lamborghinis are usually a good way to tell between the different models. So, of course, this is the nice, sharp, new and improved Huracan front bumper that's super cool, and I really love any Lamborghini in this Verde Mantis color. It really sets it apart from all the other ones, and it just looks so epic. Like, that's what you think of when you think of Lamborghini. It's just some bright, crazy color, and this is it. For pricing, the 580-2 Huracan had an MSRP of around $200,000, while the 610-4 model had an MSRP at around $240,000. Now you can get the 580-2 for about $180,000 or the 610 model for about $200,000. Or you could get an Audi R8, which has the same engine and same transmission as the Huracan behind me. It's just less expensive, and you don't get that Lamborghini attention that some people don't want. So, I mean, do you want an Audi R8? Do you want a really loud Huracan? You pick. They're both awesome cars. Plus, you can see my review of the Audi R8 that I did on my channel before, so go check that out and compare for yourself. Now coming down the side of the Huracan here, but first I'm going to stop and talk about the wheels for a second. When you get the 580 model, you get steel brakes. Yes, you have to get a 610-4 to get that carbon ceramic brake from the factory. So that kind of sucks. Even if you're just trying to get into like an entry-level Lamborghini, you don't get carbon ceramics right off the bat. So continuing down the side, I absolutely love just how sleek it looks. It is just like, honestly, kind of skinny and small. Like, it's compact, but it looks like a bullet. Like, the sleekness is insane. It looks like anything you would think of that a supercar would be. And the thing of Lamborghini is for them to have hexagons absolutely everywhere on their vehicles. So starting off, we have our hexagonal mirrors right here that do this weird foldy thing when you lock your car. It doesn't just fold in like a normal car. I'll show you that in just a second. But if we keep coming down to our door handle, you have a hexagonal door handle with a hexagonal button next to another hexagon inside another hexagon. Like, they are just excessive with it all over their cars. And that stems from their previous concept cars that they used to have back in the day. And they just kind of brought it into the modern era. So from this car onward, you will find hexagons in absolutely every Lamborghini everywhere. And then we do have two air vents right here in this fender area to cool your motor all the way back here in the back. And that follows with this sharp body line into this back rear area. And man, it just looks so sharp. Like, I just love this car. I love its body lines, how Lamborghini went all out with the Huracan. Starting off on the rear end back here, first we have our third brake light right there. That's just this Nice liney design, nothing old, it's new and updated and fits this little area good. Next to that, we have our new Huracan taillights, which are also like this really cool line that goes into like a Y that's kind of similar to the front headlights in a way, just longer. Under that, we have our completely open vent because your motor is right there. So they are in a hexagon shape, of course. Under that, you do have your backup camera, also in the shape of a hexagon. And we have our quad tips on either side. And then in between those, we have this really cool girl that you guys should go subscribe to. So go do it. Next, we're gonna get into this hood area right here. So now into your hood / engine bay area. Of course, we have all kinds of functional vents all around this huge piece of glass for cooling this big old motor down. And I absolutely love that Lamborghini let you see your entire motor back here. Most cars don't let you do that, but I'm so glad Lamborghini did. And to get the back part of this to open up, you do have to have the car started, like ignition button pressed, but you don't have to fully start it to get it to pop. So the button is actually in the driver's footwell underneath the Frunk button right here. You press that, it will pop open the latch for you, and then you just lift it up, and it is a little heavy. But it does have struts here for you, so it does hold itself up. No like old-fashioned way here, Chevy Colorado. But as we open this up, there is a whole bunch of forged carbon fiber in here, which looks super cool and very Lamborghini race car. And one odd thing about the engine of the Lamborghini is it does not sit perfectly straight with these crossbars right here. Like if you look at it straight, like it's off to the side just a little bit. But I absolutely love how they took their time with this engine bay. They put Lamborghini on your intakes, and then they have a huge V10 badge underneath just to show you, you have a V10. This thing means business. So this Huracan is a 5.2 liter V10 making 580 horsepower, hence the name 580-2. That -2 part means that it's rear wheel drive, and the 610 has the 610 horsepower with the -4 meaning that it is all wheel drive. How convenient for Lamborghini to do that for you. This thing has a top speed of 199 miles per hour. Don't be saying your car goes 200 miles an hour because it only goes 199. And it goes 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds with a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. Now, let's give it a listen. Oh my gosh, that sounds so good. It gets so high pitched so quick. That is awesome. Before this video gets going, I need you to go check out me on my socials. I love checking out cars on the side, but I post all of my best content in the links below. Plus, you'll get to see my review of this gorgeous Ferrari 488 Spider. Now hopping into the Frunk area here, the ways that you can open your Frunk is 1, on your key fob, or 2, in that driver footwell section where you can also pop your back engine bay area. There's a little button right here that you can hit and it will pop open for you, but there is a latch to open it, and it's just like the Audi R8 latch, of course. So you just pull up on it, and it is a nice open kind of mechanism here. It holds itself up for you. Love that. And it does kind of do this thing where it like opens, but then like kind of goes back a little bit so that it sits perfectly flush over the top of your fenders here. Now opening the Frunk area, I'm just gonna start at the top here. Lamborghini, you forgot a hexagon. What the hexagon? There, underneath this little panel is your brake fluid, and it is in the shape of just a measly circle, not a cool hexagon. And over there on the left side is your windshield washer fluid. And if we move into the actual Frunk space, I mean, it's pretty small. I thought it was gonna be bigger than it is. It's kind of deep, but very narrow. And you just get a few things inside this frunk space. One, you get your 12 volt next to your little light. On each side, there's like these little indentions, kind of, and those can store your nice Huracan bags. This one on the left side has your air compressor kit, while this one on the right side has also things for tires and like your tow hook and things like that. If we go right below this 12 volt area, there's this little panel and you can pull it off, and that is where your battery is. So if you want to keep this on a battery tender, it is easily accessible. And on the other side of the front panel, you do have this big old kidnap handle, just like in the Audi R8, how it's just huge and obtrusive big. It's weird. But I mean, this is pretty deep. I would say it definitely goes like above the elbow, kind of like mid-arm. So, I mean, I can try to fit. Let's try. Oh. Oh my God, no. I don't even go. Kind of. This is the first frunk I don't fit in. And before we hop into the interior, I'm just going to show you the key here. So it just has Lamborghini on the back of it, indented in like a black. I feel like they could have at least done it silver. Or what would be really cool is if you could match your key to the color of your paint spec. That would be sick. Right here on the top is a Lamborghini logo, the same one that is on your front badge area. And on the other side, you just have a lock and unlock. And then right here in the middle, you have your Frunk Poppy button. And the little car is actually in the shape of a Huracan. So nice attention to detail right there, Lamborghini. And it is pretty heavy and just happens to look exactly like an Audi R8 key. Imagine that. And what's really cool is if you hit the unlock button on the key here, your door handle like pops out at you and says, look, here I am. And you just pull on it to open the door and it will stay open for you until you lock it and it goes right back in. Now let's hop into the inside. Now onto the interior of the Huracan here. But while you're jumping in, you are greeted by the word Huracan in your little door sill area here. And there is also like this kind of weird protruding little thing at the bottom of your door that just has like this nub that goes into this small little hole here. And I don't really know what that's for, but I just noticed it and thought it was weird. So if you guys could tell me in the comments, that would be cool. But first impressions into this interior here is just like a lot of hexagons off the bat, but super, super cool. This is like totally different from any other car that I have been in. Like all materials feel really nice. I love this leather. It's super, super soft. And these seats are like not even their most bolstery seats that you can get, but like they're still really, really nice and would definitely hold you into place. I just feel like everything looks super, super cool in here. It's like futuristic almost. I love the green stitching. I love how Lamborghini lets you customize a whole bunch of things, just like the Corvette. That's all that I can compare it to because they have a ton of super, super cool colors, just like Chevy. And wow, like you can just make this thing your own. Everything is super race car-y. And I just love how like the whole center console almost just looks like a cockpit. Like it's super driver focused. You are just in your element, going fast, and that's what Lamborghini wants you to do. So let's jump in to a few specifics around this car. Now just starting off on this door panel here, you have a ton of hexagons, of course. Everything is encased in a hexagon. Even like your little mirror controls and your door handle is a hexagon in itself. Behind your door handle, you have your lock and unlock button in kind of a weird space. But as we move in on the left side of the steering wheel, you have more of these like kind of toggly switchy buttons. And it's just a bunch of your lighting controls. And then this last one is like your cruise control speed. And as we come into the steering wheel here, it's really simple. There's only a couple buttons on the wheel itself. You have your light flashing button right there at the top. You have your turn signals on your steering wheel as well, and you just push this little switch to the left, to the right, and press it inward to turn off your turning signal. Under those, that is where you toggle through your infotainment gauge cluster menus. If we pop onto the other side, those are your windshield washer and wiper controls. And then we just have a set of blank buttons right here underneath those with absolutely no function. Maybe if you option a couple extra things, it would be right there. But at the bottom, that's where we change into our different sport modes. So we have Strada, Sport, and then the fastest is Corsa. And this is just the gorgeous Lamborghini wheel with your hexagonal airbag size, which is so funny. I've never seen a hexagonal airbag before. And behind that are your paddle shifters that are just nice and metal and very thin and feel really good. Like they're just nice and soft to push in, but super race car-y still, nevertheless. Now, as we move into the center console, first, I'm going to talk about these hexagonal air vents here that just have a little dial on the side to open and close them. Nothing special, but they do look really cool. And then we have this baby little screen right here that says Lamborghini on it. But right underneath that are all of these super fighter jetty kind of cockpit buttons that I really think are super different and unique. And they have these little, like, almost cages around them, I guess, so you don't accidentally press one that you don't want to use or, like, break them because they're probably very expensive to fix. But if we go through just a few of those, the first weird thing is that your window buttons are, like, kind of backwards in this car. So when you press down, your windows actually go up, and when you press up, your windows go down. And next to that one, we have our front end axle lifter. We have our hazards, parking sensors, a completely empty button right here next to our passenger window button. And then if we move on down, these are our climate controls. Very easy. I guess that's what pops up right here in this top screen, I could imagine. So you just have fan off button or heated seat button, AC, or your window defroster button. Like, very easy, very basic. And if we move on under that, this is what controls our gauge cluster and infotainment area. Since there is no center screen here, everything is in your gauge cluster right in front of your face. So there's just a few basic buttons. You can use the buttons or you can use this dial right here and just press in on it, and it's easy. Everything just works super simply. Next to that, we have our radio controls, and you just use the dial to turn up or down your volume. You can skip to next song, turn it off completely. Moving down, we have our start-stop button. People complained about having to lift up this big red part to turn on their car. So now there's like a little hole where you can just press in to press start of your car, or you can still lift it up like a super cool guy who owns a Lamborghini, and you can press your start stop button there. Underneath that, we have the weird reverse shifting. It's like a lever that you pull backwards towards you to go into reverse, while park and then there's a manual mode right there, or just regular buttons. And then we have our parking brake right under that. So everything is just in your center line. It's a fighter jet in here. You're gonna go really fast. And I think that's what they wanted to portray with this car. So yes, there is a whole bunch of buttons, but they're all very self-explanatory. So I'm just gonna show you a couple things in the infotainment/gauge cluster right now. So as we turn on the ignition start switch here, all of these lights come up on the steering wheel and on the center console, and it just looks nice and aggressive. So on this top screen here, this is what stays on it for the most part, is your press oilio, your temp oilio, and your batteria. So when you get this car, you need to learn Italian just a little bit because that's what it says. Not battery, not oil temp, temp oilio. But like I mentioned, when you do start to change the temperatures of your AC controls. You use this little dial here, and that'll pop up just your temperature for just a few seconds, and then it'll go back to those little gauges right there. And thanks so much to Tampa Auto Gallery for letting me do the review of this Lamborghini Huracan 580-2. They have an amazing selection of luxury and exotic cars, so make sure to check out their inventory. So if we move in to our gauge cluster infotainment here, there is really not a whole lot to see, you guys. It's very simple, very basic, almost just like a Ferrari. You just want to go fast, not fiddle with things too much. But this is our gauge cluster screen, and it looks super cool. I love the big tachometer right in the middle. Shows your red line, like it's just bright and in your face. And right over there to the left is a little tiny Lamborghini logo, which is super cute. And on the right side, it shows a little Huracan, and like it shows when your doors are open or things like that. I think it would have been really cool if they could have did the color of your car as the little Huracan, same color, but that's okay. Up at the top, we have our benzina, which is your gas. So I hope you know what benzina means, because that's what it's gonna say. And then below that, you have your coolant temp, which is temp aqua. Sounds fancy. Underneath that is kind of just where you find your whole infotainment. So use these little dials and buttons right here in the middle, like I mentioned earlier. So if I were to click on time, then it's up in the left-hand corner, and I just click this left top button and you can set all your time and date settings. Hit back, you're already in the menu right there, or you can go to setup, so you can hit this top right button and just put a few things that you want in here. Very easy. But if we pop through these few menus right here, it's on car currently. So I'll click this middle button and you can do your servicing, driver assist, your vehicle settings. I just click vehicle settings. It's literally just lighting and locking. Go on back. And other than that, it's literally just a few simple menus like phone controls, your info of your traffic reports, navigation, media, radio. But there is this one little menu that is tone with your balance and treble and bass, or gala, like we're going to an event or something. But other than that, we have our miles per hour right underneath of that, shown in kind of like a 000 kind of look, so that when you're going that 199, it will actually say 199. And then, I mean, it looks cool. It looks basic. Everything sits in this hexagonal little thing right here, of course. I mean, that's the interior of the Huracan here. Very basic, very easy. The newer ones do have center screens and things like that, but honestly, I think I just prefer the buttons. And just a few last things to touch on here in the interior. We do have these little teeny weeny visors that open towards you with a tiny little mirror, but you don't get a mirror light. They are just so small. I don't even know what kind of sun that's blocking out, but it is in this nice Alcantara kind of headliner here. It feels really nice. It looks cool. Next to that, we have this little center area with just a few light buttons and things like that. But then we just have this kind of circle-y plastic mirror. Oh, man, Lamborghini, you could have made it a cool hexagon or something like that. You could have made it like borderless or something like that. But it's just the basic circle mirror you see everywhere. Now let's get into the storage of this car. The only storage I'm really finding is this little cubby on the driver's door and the passenger door. There's this tiny little bridge area, I guess, for something small, but like it is so tiny. And then we have a really small center console, if you could even call it that. Like, you could probably only put a phone in there or something. And then there's a 12-volt plug-in right there in that for you. We do have our glove box here, which is pretty deep. And it's like lined with this kind of felty material. And it has a little light in there for you. It's kind of weird. It's like a... I don't know. It's not just flat. It's like kind of wavy in a way. And this one has the coveted cup holder option. It's built into the dash. There is nowhere to put physical cup holders in this car. So people do really want that option most times so that you can carry a drink with you. And then one other storage spot is behind your seats. There is this little bridge area that you can stick a purse on or something like that. Or you can lift your seats forward and you have like a kind of floorboard area. And then there's a little net right there above the bridge area to put some smaller things in. And there's a CD player right here behind this whole center console thing. You can barely see it, but it's lit up with kind of like reddish buttons or things like that. But this is the interior. That's it. Like, I do like it. It's very simple, basic, but like fighter jetty and cool and fast and aggressive. So I think Lamborghini did a great job with this being their first Huracan model, and how it's progressed through the years just looks even cooler. I will just say one last thing that kind of irks me is that your Lambo doesn't have Lambo doors, okay? They like keep it for their higher end kind of V12 models, like on the Aventador and things like that. But you don't sit in a car show with your doors like this and you're still Lamborghini. Like, man, they could have just done it. Even a base 570S McLaren has butterfly doors. It would look so cool on this car. Please, Lamborghini, fix it. Now for my 3 favorite features. One has to be the little cup holder option that pops out at you so that you can have somewhere to put your drink. That's not in every Lamborghini. You literally have to pay for that. 2 has to be the whole inside. How it just looks like a fighter jet. That's all I can say that it looks like, really. It is very driver focused, and I love all the little toggle switches. You don't see many like that, and Lamborghini really just pulled it off. 3 has to be the start button, how it is just red and big and in your face, and you can just pull up the little switchy thing and press go. Like, that is so cool and just so supercar-y. For my Riley ranking, I'll probably have to go an 8.8 on this car. I really, really love the color, and I love all of the colors that Lamborghini has to offer. It just really makes them look super cool. This is just the perfect sleek design, but it looks super mean and menacing going down the road. You know it's a Lamborghini just by the way it styles and its edginess and things like that. I do kind of like the more updated ones just a little bit better than the first model of the Huracan, so that's why it's not a little bit higher, but this thing is still awesome today. And if you thought this car was cool, you have got to go check out the others that I have reviewed. And then we have these new taillights for the Huracan.